Welcome back, everybody, to the episode of Lost Legion. I'm your host, JR, and today we got our two co-hosts, Jose and Daniel. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Yo,
Unfortunately, guys, we had to miss last week. Had a lot going on, so we're doing it today, or doing it on a regular schedule. So let's go ahead. So Shatterpoint, guys, have been out for 2 weeks now, um, and they just dropped a couple of things. They dropped the two Jedi Hunters, Inquisitors, the Grand Inquisitors,
bleh.
and Jose's favorite, the third sister.
Yo, Mikey said he's gonna when he gets the box, he's just gonna break the Riva model. He doesn't want to play with it.
But what's funny is they don't even say Riva. They do in like her
Those little
actual
subtext.
yeah
Yeah.
subtext. But what's also to note, they also dropped Vader and Obi-Wan, and this is the Vader and Obi-Wan from Obi-Wan show. But what I like about these is these are dual factions, our very first dual factions. Have you guys got a chance to look at them?
yeah, I took a look
No.
just this morning at lunch, so it was a very brief look.
Anything that
Is the
caught your eyes?
Obi in there different from the Obi-Wan we currently have?
Yes,
Mhm.
very, very different.
Very different. Very
Okay.
different.
He's not even a primary, he's a secondary.
Yeah.
So
And
that's the Obi you want to run with Anakin if you want to run them together.
Actually, yeah, probably. That'd be
Yeah,
actually
because
kind
it's
of cool.
dual faction, right? It'd be
you could use
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
clones and
I think it's
okay.
hilarious that it's dual faction and there's no rebel release anywhere yet. So I
Future
was like,
proof.
oh, dual
Future proof.
faction. You can run him on his own or in an army.
Well,
Definitely.
they showed during the leaks that we're gonna be getting old Ben, C-3PO, Luke Skywalker, and all them like
Yeah, but
later.
they're not even on the slate through September yet. So it's like he's definitely going to be Republic for a bit.
And they already like showed like pictures of the Cad Bane, so I'm assuming that's gonna be the next thing that they like drop the cards
Well, they
about.
said that one has a September release date. So
Is
even though they haven't done like the announcement or whatever, it's on like the AMG's not AMG, Asmodee's site
you think
for
it's gonna be
September.
dual factions?
Uh, I, yeah, probably. Because I
I
mean,
could see
we've seen
bounty
Cad Bane
hunters
afterwards.
doing that.
But you don't see the other ones. You don't see Aurora Singh. You don't see the other guy. I don't know their name. Just Aurora Singh.
They could make just Cad be dual faction. Like, not everyone has to be dual
Oh
faction.
yeah, you're right. I'm thinking like they all have to be. No, you're right.
Yeah.
They could totally do that. That could be a thing. So yeah, so I guess so like I've been debating because we're our Focus Legion podcast, right? And I know we cover the Shatterpoint stuff and this Shatterpoint grows. We want to keep on top of it. I don't know if it's necessary, Phil, and I'll get you guys' input on it. Do we need to like go over the stats and everything? Or we just kind of like, here's what's going on?
To
What do
be
you guys?
honest, I don't mind covering Shatterpoint stuff just because um a lot of the stuff out there is not really Shatterpoint focused. So since we're where we play, it's mainly Shatterpoint and Legion. Like I wouldn't mind like just go actually going through Shatterpoint, as part of our normal like routine. I think that sounds fun. Granted, I haven't played yet because I'm still painting, but like once I get playing, like I would have more insight and just covering. Sometimes there's no Legion news. Well, now we can cover Shatterpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some news sources they just don't either don't cast or they don't have a in-depth like Legion section because of Legion related. Maybe there's no tournament, maybe there's no news.
Mhm.
And this gives us an opportunity to stay in a Legion game and not worry about when we don't have enough content for one, we would have things and content for another. I think that's more than fine. That'd be fun.
What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's not hugely time consuming, I'm always looking at all the different Star Wars news for both these games. So, yeah, I mean, especially while they're doing like their big release slate, probably don't cover Shatterpoint tournaments, but when they come out with a new guy, I'd like to hear about it.
Do you
Okay.
think they're gonna do Shatterpoint tournaments? Because
Oh yeah.
somebody on the
Yeah,
Shatterpoint Facebook group was like, we want to do our first tournament, but we don't want things to get like out of hand. So, since there's no official format, what about like a blue and red, essentially good guys versus bad guys only?
there
And
is
I'm
an
like,
official format, isn't there?
not that they were talking about. I haven't seen
I thought they
anything.
came out with a bunch of documents.
I'm
Did
sure
they?
there's some format you could
Let
do.
me
This was
look.
like a week
I'll
ago,
look and
so
we
if they
can we
did,
can do the other
might have
stuff.
been recent.
I think it was at launch. At launch they released like the updated rule book and then like a couple other documents. But I'll look and we can go
Go
forward
for
now.
it. Okay, well, I just want to point out that Third Sister actually does look good. Inquisitor looks good, but like Vader, this Vader Darth Vader Jedi Hunter is bonkers to me. He's got 12 health, so he has the highest health in the game. And he, 3 stamina. And then I'm totally biased here. I think he's gonna be good at Maul. Totally biased on that one.
Jeez.
Because he literally has a thing, and I'll read it right now. Your hatred makes you powerful. When an ally character makes a melee attack as part of a combat action, after choosing a target, the attacking you may suffer 2 damage. If it does, the attacker adds 3 dice to attack roll. And whenever Maul damages himself, he gets more attack dice. So I'm just seeing this just like, my God, if I could fit Luminara with Vader, oh man, that would have been the best combo ever. Yeah, so I'm just going bonkers. Kenobi looks good, but he's only got 8 health.
Kenobi reminds me of Padawan Ahsoka, where he's going to be kind of like a Jedi support unit. It's interesting.
Yeah, I really like Mind Trick. I think that can be really handy.
So in the game, a lot of the secondary units don't have the like a. It seems from what I'm hearing and what I've seen is like, granted, I've only seen like starter stuff, but so the secondaries don't have near as much health as the secondary units don't have near as much health as the primaries, right?
So primary, in my opinion, how it works is like primaries are your hard hitters, and that can do more shenanigans.
But where are they at
Secondaries,
HP wise? Like, is there a
They're
substantial
usually
difference?
they're usually 10, 11, whereas the secondaries are
Secondaries?
like 8, 9.
yeah,
So it's just weird seeing Obi-Wan with not the primary health pool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
and just he only has 2 stamina. Most primaries have 3, and I know
Really?
this is. I think so. The only one that I don't think has 3 is Maul.
I think both primaries.
Primary, yeah, yeah.
Well, Obi-Wan's not a primary.
Well, that's what I meant. I meant like this
Okay,
Obi-Wan.
yeah.
Yeah, this Obi-Wan's a secondary.
It's like
So
I think all the secondaries only have 2. Only
yeah,
have 2.
yeah, all of them have 2. No one has 3.
This is
so
Weak Link Obi-Wan from a whack
Mhm.
show, so
It's
it's
scary,
on
man.
par.
It's satisfying. It's terrifying. Mind Trick looks good. A run, I don't know about that. Immunity, I guess that's good. And
I
then
think run actually looks pretty solid. I mean, a reposition is nice.
yeah, you're right. Like I haven't got a lot of game time in it, honestly, and I need to play a lot more to get the feel. I've been teaching a lot more people than I have been like enjoying an actual game.
Mm.
Daniel, I know
That's
you.
good though. You're community building, so
True, yeah. I know Jose, you haven't played, so we'll get your thoughts when you do play. But Daniel, you played some games, right?
I've played twice now. But both times it's like you say, I was teaching people, and also I know we for sure played completely wrong the first time. So I've played 1.5 games is where I'm gonna sit.
What did you do wrong, most?
The biggest thing we did wrong in the first game is I don't know where I got this from, but instead of scoring like how many points you had, I was having them score their net. So it'd be like, oh, I have 3 and my opponent has 2, so I score 1. So the middle did not move. It did not move very much. It moved like one way and then one the other and then one way and then one back. So it was very different than it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of my boat too. Talking to Garrett on the Discord and Nick about the cover rules. Cause I like the way I do games is I want to just learn the basics and then I'll dive deep into the rules and figure out all the shenanigans. But yeah, it seems pretty fun. I'm loving all this data that they're giving and the unit cards and what they do. It just seems like so fun of how many units you can bring.
Yeah.
Can't wait
I'm
for you
not
guys.
Probably get a
sure
game in.
how competitive this game will be, because there is just so much randomness in it. From the games that I've played, it's like, oh, you don't really control who's going next, which is super important. A lot of people get one shot, and that's just not really controllable. So there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, I don't think I would ever want to take this game really seriously or really competitively, but it's a blast. So if you're just like, oh, I want to see my hero do something cool, this is fun. But I'm probably never going to be taking this game to tournaments, at least based on my experience so far.
What
I
you say,
just
Jose?
no, I was saying I'll probably end up trying getting with you for a learn to play next week because I just got my the 212 you and Daniel got me for my birthday. Thank you again.
Mhm.
I just got that done, and then I have my Anakin, Rex, and 501st done. So
When
I
you
just need to get my terrain painted and my tools,
when you say
and
next week,
then
you mean this week or next week?
next week, because
Okay.
I gotta paint you. I gotta paint your adventure stuff so you can actually have your actual army. Because you got the Grievous, you
Dooku.
got Dooku and all them. So you need your half. So my half's done. I need to get your half done. So what I'm thinking about this week is getting your half done, and then
Mhm.
getting my terrain knocked out, and then we should be able to get together
Okay.
next week for a game.
Hell
I
yeah.
really
Nice.
want to play. It looks like
It
a
looks
blast.
fun.
Like seeing
Yeah.
all the heroes like mosh pitting in the middle. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this looks cool.
No, it
What
is a
I
blast.
what
And the
I'm enjoying.
poses, dude, the
Oh yeah,
poses.
poses are cool. What I'm enjoying the most about it is like I'm learning, so I'm gonna make mistakes, and I'm just like, oh, we're both making mistakes, and then yeah, so that's the fun part. Okay, moving on. So just want to let you guys know something. Last week, well, the week before last week, because we couldn't actually do the podcast, they dropped some changes to the rules. They finally dropped in errata, and I'm gonna announce today, right here in front of everybody. It is official. I'm a gunline player now, baby. Gunline player. After they butchered my force users over and over and over again. No more gunline all the way. So let's go over
Finally, you
these.
play some armies that require skill.
Let's go over these dumb errata changes.
Oh, he's so hurt.
So one of them was the Dark Troopers can no longer be Guardian. What do you guys think? Good or bad change?
That's a great change. I
Love
don't
it.
know how much it'll like change the game, but thematically definitely makes sense.
Do they still
Mhm.
get do they still get are they still able to get barrier? 'Cause if they can't get barrier, something that's kind of bullshit.
I think they are still able to get
Yeah.
barrier because it doesn't
But
specifically say they can't.
like barrier is just like a one-time thing
They should
that
have no defensive tech.
I think barrier
Barrier makes sense thematically though,
Mhm.
right? Like a Jedi can do that, but to have like a flesh and blood Imperial Guard be like, I'm jumping in front of this droid, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that. The droid could just grab him and pull him in front. What's he really gonna do?
Yeah, so that was a good change. The other change, well, how many changes were there? I think three.
There was a couple small ones.
What were the
Yeah.
other ones other than the big one that we'll go over?
Something about a pivot.
Yeah. So
Reworded a pivot somewhere.
whenever you get damaged on a vehicle and it's the move one that gets affected, you no longer
Yeah.
spend 2 actions to pivot. It's
Yeah,
now
yeah,
just
that's the one.
Yeah.
They also changed. Damn, I wish I had it up. I dropped the ball on this one. But force choke. They changed force choke, and it is the stupidest move in my opinion. You no longer get to choose who you choke. You get to choke, and they get to decide who dies from that choke. What do you guys think?
I love it.
I don't think it's a great change. I think it was a fun, unique thing, and I agree with the 5 point increase, right? Having it at 10 points, I think was appropriate because it is so important for objectives and stuff. But oh man, it just thematically again, like I play this game for theme. I'm playing this game because it's Star Wars and I want to do cool things. So it kind of sucks when it's like, oh, I'm gonna choke somebody, and then the other guy's like, oh, you choked this unimportant guy in the back.
You're gonna choke the model that I think is the ugliest over here.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I like it personally because
You're a gunline player,
nothing.
that's why.
No. Even before, I used to before Gunline, I used to play OP Luke.
Hmm.
Um, and my thing was I hated that the fact that you would lose a 20+ point upgrade to a 5 point upgrade. Like, yeah, you could say all you want, hey, if I get in, I get in. Well, after a while, getting in was simple: burst of speed, cover changes, all that stuff. So it wasn't necessarily, hey, I can just shoot this guy down. Nah. As my game on my birthday showed a Roman, sometimes the defensive dice just get hot and you cannot stop it. So my thing is, if they were, it's kind of it feels kind of lame only because like they increase the points and everybody was like 10 points to choke. All right, whatever, it is what it is. There are psychopaths still willing to pay that for the ability to pick a mini and kill it, which is perfectly fine because there's maniacs that will pay 10 points for burst of speed. If you were to put force push up to 30 points, there'd be maniacs that would take it. So it made sense. And then like they dropped the errata, like the rules change, and then they're like, okay, not only is it 10 points, but now you don't get to choose what you wound. So I'm of two minds about this. I think that either I think that they shouldn't have upped it 10 points if they knew this was in the pipe and it was gonna end up affecting it that way. Because if you're paying 5 points and I get to choose what mini you're taking, to me that's a fair trade because you're using a 5 point upgrade and I'm giving you a 9 to 10 point model. You're still getting value out of it, sort of. Um, Big impact on the objective game because now you can't choke hostages and all that stuff. It was already bad enough with the being able to move the objective. Now, not only can I plant the objective where I want, when you push me in, when you choke, you don't get to choke my guy. That's even worse. I think that if they're gonna keep it at 10 points, they need to make it 2 auto wounds. I think that's a fair trade because it's essentially a double choke.
Well, so I think they should have did one or the other. Either raise the choke to 10 or change it to where you don't pick anymore and keep it at 5. Like I didn't feel like they needed to do both.
Yeah, but if they're keeping it there, they should do double. It should be 2 wounds.
Well, but they could always roll back one of these 2 changes.
Mhm.
I think
Well,
I'd rather them do that than change it again in a third direction.
I like it. Like I agree with you, Daniel. Like I don't like it thematic wise because that just doesn't make sense. But like for new people coming in, I like it because it does suck when you're a new player and you force choke a heavy.
Sucks
You're
as a
just like,
veteran player.
you know, it just sucks, man. So I get why they did it. I understand the change. It sucks because we're a veteran player and how we liked it so much because it felt so good.
It just added a fun dynamic
So-
to playing against force users or playing as a force user because it was just like, oh, there's this interesting like third thing that they can do. And now it's like, oh, they're just gonna kind of do what every other unit does. They're gonna run at you, probably use force push to make sure people stay engaged, and then whack people. And it's like, oh well.
So,
What?
question, Jared, would you be okay with the change if they added another change to it where since it's only wound and you get to choose, would you be okay if they change it to now it affects operatives?
Yes.
Would
And
it be worth
commanders.
10 points?
And commanders.
Not
I think-
commanders. No, operatives. Not commanders.
I think you should do commanders and operatives because at this point it's just all it is doing 1 damage. So force choke would now be important to take against operatives and commanders, right? I don't think they're gonna do that because then that would make the dark side.
I've seen choke kill a operative in a movie like Padme. I haven't seen choke kill Obi-Wan. I haven't seen choke kill Qui-Gon, Mace Windu. So
But-
I'll give you operatives. I'm not giving you commanders. That's busted if it's commanders. Like, or if it can affect commanders.
I don't know.
So-
I don't think there's a huge difference between operatives and commanders in this game,
Hmm.
just in general.
But to be honest, if you could force choke operative commander, it's another feel bad thing. You know what I mean? So it's like I think the way AMG is going about this is let's make this fun for everybody
Yeah.
and just
except for JR.
But like that's clearly the changes they're going for. It's exactly what you're saying. They just want to take away any surprise feel bad moment. The problem is that like a lot of the strategy that is developed for the game is built around that and counterplaying that. And so now like you're eliminating a portion of existing strategy because it's not easy to learn. And I get it,
So,
but
should
it
we
does
have
yeah.
should we have known it was going to go this direction? Because when the original CRB came out, it was very clearly stated in writing and in podcasts and interviews that the CRB was basically designed to help speed the game up and help make it easier for people to understand. So, I feel like the way JR feels about the choke thing is the same way I feel about the cover and the climb. It's all retrofitted to be easier for people to play the game, enter the game, speed up the game. But it takes so much of the tactics out of the game that some of us enjoy, even at a casual level. Like nothing was better than whipping a saber tank, strafing around a barricade and then blowing up a unit, or speeding up with Palpatine and choking something and jazz hands. Like So a lot of those epic moments have kind of been neutered a little bit, but I mean, I don't think we should be surprised going forward with stuff like this.
The only thing I was surprised about is I kind of thought that they were not going to make changes to cards. I thought they were only going to do points adjustments because it's easier that way. So I'm like kind of almost positively surprised and like, oh, they are willing to still make like changes to like the rules and the way keywords work and stuff. So I'm actually pretty happy, but that's why, yeah, that's why I'm more surprised by it is I didn't think they were going to do something like this.
And honestly, like in hindsight, we should have known because from Shatterpoint and MCP, it seems like they just want you to have fun more than competitive.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going with.
There was
It's
one
up-
more rule change. The Op Vader is no longer allowed in Blizzard Force.
Mhm.
That's a
Now,
wonderful rules change.
now
It's beautiful,
it's balanced. Yeah.
thematic, balanced. It's great. All across the board. A pluses for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
they lose their bid now.
other than being biased against Force Choke, like it's really good changes. Like I still hate the cover rules, don't get me wrong. That needs to be addressed and changed. But other than that, like they're doing a great job. There is a couple more promote the field commander keyword. It says, and they do not control if all players' units are defeated and they do not control the field commander. But you know the field commander keyword with the command token. They no longer have a unit and cannot play command cards. I don't know.
What do they do? Did they just
I, I I think they just like future proofed it for other stuff coming out. They didn't really
okay?
change anything. And then
Yeah, because I
Jakar,
looked at that one. I didn't understand what the change was.
I think it might be a future proof thing because I don't understand really either.
Wait, well, read it again. What was it? Because I
Yeah.
was late to the change
I'll
party.
read the whole thing.
Yeah, read
So,
it to me.
if all of a player's commander units are defeated and they do
Mhm.
not control a unit with the field commander keyword with a commander token, starting with the player with priority, I guess I should say with blue text on. So from after the defeated part, and they do not control a unit with the field commander keyword with the commander token, that's all blue text. Starting with the blue player with priority, players must promote a unit leader from one of their trooper units to change its rank and become a commander unit. The unit's original order token is discarded and replaced by a commander order token, and the unit counts as a commander unit for all rules and purposes. If a player has no trooper units with a unit leader to promote, and then this is all blue, and does not control a unit with the field commander keyword with the commander token, and then that's the end of that, then they no longer have a commander unit and cannot play command cards.
So that sounds like something that's going to be probably and have to do with like the side event kit, because it's basically saying like if you have a trooper unit with no,
I think
never
this is to
mind.
do with field commander because that's the
No,
blue text, right? I
no,
think
it
this
says
is just they're just adding the field commander rule into promotion
Well,
to make
no.
it
So what
clearer.
it is? No, I get it. This is how it sounds like. So when you add fives or echo or a leader mini, that's the leader mini for that unit. What this is saying is that if your commander gets snuffed and you don't have a vehicle commander with field commander on it, then you have to nominate a trooper unit with a leader mini as your new commander. If you don't have it, then you don't have a commander. So basically, we're living in a world now where if you don't bring Echo, you don't bring fives, you don't bring Gideon, and your vehicle and your commander gets sniped and your operative gets sniped, you no longer can promote anything to a commander now.
Well, no, I think this is because it says unit leader. I don't think it
So
means the leader
yeah,
keyword. So what I think this is doing is like, let's say, Jose, you're bringing 2 sabers, 3 ATRTs, and none of them have field commander. And I kill all your troopers. You no longer have a commander. You cannot promote your ATRTs anymore or a saber
Okay.
because they don't have the
Yeah.
field commander keyword.
Okay, then that changes wild. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Well, you
so-
technically don't. So
Yeah, so you can't do that anymore. And then they changed your car mastery too. Did you happen to see that too?
no.
I don't
What
know
did they change?
I don't know what it's all blue text. I think
oh yeah. They specified the exact timing of when you did the upgrades. So so you first do all of your surges, so you convert all your surges, and then you can use your dodges to convert from blanks to hits or hits to crit. So it just spelled all that out so that because I think the timing had already been clarified in the forums, but they just wanted it to be worded clearer. Because I don't think surge timing was listed in the original text.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. All right, boys. What do you guys think overall? Like, they didn't do a lot of errating, which I think is good. But overall, we like it, we don't like it. And
Yeah,
why
I mean, I
don't we
think
like it? Because force choke.
I'm not a huge fan of force choke, but I also understand where it's coming from. So like I'm not super against it. I'm just kind of like neutral against it. And I'm a big fan of the other changes they made. So overall, I think great decisions.
What you got, Jose?
I like it. I feel bad for force choke. It's something I do like using when I'm using like Vader. Activator's the only bad guy I use. Because there's no reason to put it on Anakin. So if I ever was thinking about taking on Anakin, now it's not even in discussion. I think that they need to look at it, and I think they need to revert that back to take it down 5 points or give it 2 wounds or something, because it's just nobody's gonna take it. Like
Yeah, except for
you got
maybe Dooku.
if
That's the only
you're
one who might consider
I
it.
don't even think Dooku
if,
takes it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
pretty
way better
expensive.
things for
Yeah.
Dooku. There's way better things.
But he
Literally,
has 3 slots, so he could just be like, "What's the third thing?" and be like, "An extra wound's not bad."
what I plan to do is I'm not using choke ever. I'm taking burst of speed now. If I'm gonna pay 10 points, I'm
Yeah,
taking burst of speed.
But he can already take burst of speed and
Well,
choke.
I think I kind of like to play reflexes on Dooku and have
yeah,
vigilance,
Dooku's
so that way I can
yeah.
always have a
Hmm.
dodge whenever I move in, and it keeps them safe for a little bit.
Look, Daniel, don't give us Dooku players your notes, okay? We already know you don't like
Oh,
him.
you guys don't play Dooku though. You talk a big game, but I haven't seen either of you bring Dooku to the table.
Hey,
So
I got, you know what? You're right. I gotta bring a Dooku list. I gotta bring a Dooku
changes
list.
the changes.
Well,
So
it's too late now, Daniel. I'm never bringing him again. Okay,
It's true. He
they
did just
push
get,
him.
even though he's cheaper, he's definitely worse.
Yeah, it's like now Dooku's terrible. No, so just closing it out real quick. Just the changes were good. What this does show me that I'm taking a positive. I'm choosing to take a positive from it. My positive taking it from it is like AMG said that they're when they do erratas and they do point changes, it's not going to be like a set date. They will change things and do things as the game progresses and as they see things. And to be honest, that's the only positive thing I've seen coming out of them. So this gives me hope that if something goes horribly wrong, whether it be an unreleased unit coming out and just dominating, or like some keyword being crazy, at least I know that AMG doesn't have doesn't worry about going the extreme quickly and trying to figure out the situation. That's more than we got from FFG, so I can live with that.
Yeah, this is 2 changes pretty quick, considering like they did the rule book like less than 6 months ago, or
Mhm.
almost 6 months ago. So like that's pretty good response time. I
Yeah. I mean,
appreciate that.
come on, AMG, get to the cover rules. We don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But
I don't
anyway,
think they're gonna change it.
they're not going to.
They need to, man.
They do.
No, they're just gonna give more people sharpshooter, and that's gonna be it.
All right, boys, we're gonna move on. They did reveal finally the Bright Tree Village Battle Force. So before I get you guys' takes on it, I'm gonna go ahead and read you everything that is in the Battle Force. So for commanders, you're allowed to take C-3PO, Han Solo, Leia Organa, Lugray, and Wicket. Operative, Chewbacca. Special forces, Ewok slingers, you could take, I guess you could take as many as you want.
I don't think so. I think the whole thing is 0-3, isn't it?
Oh,
The only
yeah.
limit
I
is
guess you're
troopers, I
right.
thought.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So then other special forces is 0-2 rebel commandos, no strike teams. Your corps
I
could
love
be
that.
Ewok skirmishers, and then 0-2 rebel troopers. Your heavy could be Chewbacca. Unique upgrades are call to arms, herbal medicine, onwards of victory, and secret ingredients. And
Low grades cards.
the rank requirements are commander and operative must have at least a minimum of 1 to 5. And then your special forces, you can have up to 3. Corps, you have to have a minimum of 3, but up to 6. Supports, you can have up to 2, and then heavy up to 2 as well. And then your special rules are A Bright Tree Village battle force is part of the Rebel Alliance faction. This battle force may take any number of mercenary units. These units do count towards the minimum numbers of ranks required, and the army may include any number of mercenaries at each rank. This battle force must take at least 2 non Bright Tree Village rebel units. And then I love that. I love that they count for the minimum. During the end phase, this is, I think, is the worst part of the battle force. The Bright Tree Village units in this army remove 1 fewer suppression token during the remove token step.
Yeah, that's really bad.
I don't think it's bad at all.
Okay.
No, here's why. And JR, you can't tell me that Dash wasn't onto something. So Dashes was on the Legion 99 podcast, and he kind of was like, have you really sat down and looked at like what the amount of inspire that you have in this army? Like I think that's why you have 1 to 5 hero units. And I think that's gonna help with that immensely. Then you can
will
double
help.
down with lead from the front. Like, and to be honest, like it just gives you so much more room within like a lot of like your pushing like your when you're charging in. You got infinite like heavy cover because of that. So yeah, you didn't get the suppression off at the end, but you have low profile. Things that have low profile have super heavy cover, and then you got, do some crazy with low gray, like heal, move, recover. You can hide things. You can, hand out dodges with Leia. Like between having the super friends in the commander sections and their units being so cheap, I think that end part is more of a buff than a nerf. And I only think you only have to worry about it at the butt end of scoring rounds.
So here's my
But
thing about
that's,
it.
yeah, that's important though.
Yeah, my thing about it is that you don't have full order control. So those inspires are going to be miss triggers on the time when you need them most. And then you're just going to get screwed. Like when you're trying to go for an inspire guy, you're going to pull an Ewok. You're just like, well, I guess I could just get 1 action, right?
Yeah, but you're completely throwing out the rally. Like I think people get so stuck on, I'm not gonna rally this off. And yeah, normally one suppression, you're probably not gonna roll it off, but when you got like 2 to 3, you can reliably get some off. Like it happened to me when I played Roman. Like I had this dude back to 7, 8 suppression. He rolls fucking 6 of them off, and I'm like, well, okay.
The problem is that's not reliable, right? So when you're gonna need it most, it's just gonna fall apart.
You just gotta play smart, get good.
I think this does make Leia almost a staple for these lists, because with her natural inspire and you can give her lead from the front, that's going to be super, super helpful.
That's what, 4?
Yeah, because she has 2, right?
Yeah.
So then that would be enough to like bolster almost all of your core. And then
give
you could
every
have
commander
Chewie.
that you have lead from the front.
Yeah.
Not lead from the front, lead by example.
Yeah, lead by example. Yeah. Yeah, lead from the front is like the terrible card, right?
Yeah. My bad.
Well, what's annoying about Leia Organa, in my opinion, is that her beautiful friendship card with Wicket, you have to have underworld connections just to issue orders to Ewok boys. And that's so dumb. I hate that. That's a 5-point tax to play that card.
But she's so cheap, it doesn't even matter.
Well, what sucks is you want those command slots for other stuff.
Because like you said, lead by example, right?
I want lead by example. I want vigilance.
Strict orders, maybe.
Strict orders could be good, though you probably want independent to trigger on your. I think this is going to be, you probably don't want to give orders to the Ewoks whenever possible.
But if you do need to, and she has, and you're taking underworld connections, and you're not confident that you can get the order to yourself, like as being Leia, and you got to give it to your troopers, there's that 1 suppression pool right there.
It's
like
true.
It's all about the Ewoks. I think is going to be Ewok players are going to have a meta game inside of the game. Not only do Ewok players have to worry about losing turn 0, now they got to worry about losing the suppression mini game that they now have to play. But I think they're only gonna really gonna suffer when it comes to like hard hitting suppressive. Like I think Empire is gonna roll over.
Yeah, I think
Ewoks
Empire's
every
gonna
game.
just really roll over 'em.
Every game.
I'm looking at like the
It's
list I
you think
ran in the
you're gonna
last tournament.
score? Here's 3
One suppressive weapon, and those boys are done for a
Yeah.
couple turns.
Mhm. Yep. I do want to point all the arms. There's nothing mentioned about that being only 2 taken. I'm taking 6. I'm taking 9.
No, it has a
I'm taking-
dot. It's unique.
It doesn't matter. The only thing that ever says about a dot is the uniqueness is if you have it, you can only take 1 of it. So
Well, it
either
has it, so
it's got 2.
so
When
right
it's
now
one
rules
in
is
the-
written you
it's
can
one
only
in the
take
army.
1. Is that better?
I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. 2 dots to me cancel each other out. Okay.
Jeez.
I don't think that would even change anything though. So my problem with this is I think this would be fine, right? They don't remove suppression. I actually like it thematically because it's like, oh yeah, they're not soldiers. They're not
scared.
gaining bravery, right? They're just a bunch of villagers. And yeah, I think that's cool until you look at their stat line and you're like, they were gonna suck anyways. now they're gonna have suppression issues and suck. Like, oof. If they were like really threatening, I think this would be cool. But because they're not threatening, I think it's just going to make for a very sad Ewok army. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong. I'm
Well,
also probably thinking too much of them versus Empire. Like maybe other matchups will probably go better for them.
Well, you have to though, because the current meta is
Yeah.
Empire.
Yeah.
And frankly, Gar will do the same thing.
Can you
So-
can you picture that? Like you roll up some poor guy who just spent $200 on Ewoks. He gets to the table, he throws them all out, and Rob's fucking Dark Troopers just hit the table. Like,
Yeah,
oh.
Dark Troopers are just gonna walk all over them, and then the Ewoks will get up to them, roll their little black dice, get maybe
Get
one
crits.
crit. It's gonna be blocked, and then he's gonna stomp on them.
And you
You
know,
know, like
what's even more-
after you solved your suppression mini game and you made it all the way there, you killed nothing.
Yeah, I honestly like that. I can see this being good against CIS, but
Nah.
Yeah, because CIS doesn't get big pools, so the super heavy cover that'll be good.
Yeah.
Bring your spider droids and we'll light them up when you're about to die.
Flamethrower?
Boom.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
explode.
Yeah, I'll be bringing exploding spider droids and gonna be busting out the poison cannon for B1s. Just gonna be purging. It's gonna be great.
I honestly like it because like this. So once again, I keep harping on it, but like the Battle Force stuff was not supposed to be competitive.
Yeah,
I look at Ewoks. This is not competitive. And if somebody brings it and goes ham with it, they were the fucking greatest player on the planet. This is a fun meme thematic army. Like Luke's not even in there. Like they went that far. Like Luke was out in space, on the Death Star, which kind of makes me think because they're doing Tempest Force, so that means Palpatine's not going to be there.
That Rob was telling me that they've confirmed Palpatine was going to be in it, but
Is it?
I told him, are you sure? He said someone just said that in the Discord, but take it with a grain of salt. But I do agree with you, Jose. This is a fun list to play, and you'll have fun. The problem with fun is people like winning more, and that's why you're not going to.
Well,
see
at
this is gonna.
I think
this is gonna.
I think Nick will run a bunch of Ewoks. Nick will do it.
Sure.
So this,
but
and
then he won't play
better
me.
than Ahsoka. This is gonna be. So I am investing in Ewoks. I do have Ewoks pre-ordered at the shop. So Ewoks for me is gonna be if I'm hanging out and I'm at home and I having friends over and I'm throwing back beers, I'm playing Ewoks because I don't want to think. Or if the shop has like a skirmish event, I'm bringing Ewoks.
I could see Ewoks being super fun in skirmish.
I think that should be our challenge. Our challenge should be win a tournament with Ewoks. That's what it should be.
We're just gonna be required to bring them until then.
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't think I have the money to buy an Ewok Battle Force yet, so that's gonna have to probably wait till not my birthday, probably Christmas. So
He has his Christmas hit
we'll
list.
have to delay
already.
this.
Yeah. I'm gonna play on TTS because they're on TTS, so I'm gonna test them out on there, try to build a better
Nice.
live as best I can.
Invader League signups just went up.
Oh yeah.
So
You
you're gonna
gonna
do
do
that
it
this
again?
year?
Are you doing it? You guys doing it?
I want to. Yeah, I'll probably sign up. I just haven't figured out what list I want to run.
Seemed like you had a hell of a run last year.
That's my problem.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I should do it. I should.
Yeah, you should. We're gonna get Rob to do it. All 3 of us are gonna do it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Mhm,
All right. And you said it went up today?
It went up like last weekend, but they have signups up for like a whole month.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I'll do it. If you do it and Rob do it, I'm down.
Yeah.
Rob's definitely gonna do it.
Oh yeah, he's definitely doing it. All right. So I just want to give an announcement. Veterans Game Fest is happening 8th and 9th of July. You're gonna hear it as the weeks go on because I just want everybody to know that is going to be a store championship qualifier for Worlds. So anybody that wants to try to get a world qualifier, 8th and 9th of July, Veterans Game Fest. So keep
And
that
all
in
of
mind.
JR's stuff just got nerfed, so it's an open worlds invite.
He takes it and wins with Ewoks. I'm kidding.
Hey,
Also,
go ahead. Go ahead.
also you got to remember for the veterans event, you got to sign up and buy the badge through the website. We'll have to post the ad in the Discord, so whoever sees it, that they'll know where to go. And then you register for the event. Once you're paid for and registered, you'll be waiting in the game uplink waiting section for our TO to approve and put everybody in.
Can we pass them down?
That's up to AMG. I know. In old times, I think you could. In the past, you could, because I heard
I
about
assume they'll let people pass them down.
Okay, because like
yeah.
I was
Well,
I
some
was
people who won them didn't even when they made top 8, they just dropped out. So people who needed them can go into the top 8.
yeah, because that's my thing. I was just like, if I get one, I think I won't play any more tournaments unless I could pass them on. Then I'll play.
Oh,
tournament.
I'm sure for sure big tournaments will let you pass them on.
Yeah,
Especially because like the only reason they were not letting people pass them on too low was because they'd already done like 3 years of worlds qualifiers.
Yeah.
So like now there's gonna be one cycle. I'm sure that they just, get all the
Yeah.
invites out there. Whoever wants to come.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you'd have to ask the people who are organizing the event to reach out to AMG just for official, like, because I know when you win one, you have to like follow up with the AMG, the shop or whatever has to follow up with the AMG to certify, that you won it and it was a legal event and all that stuff. There's like
Yeah,
paperwork you have to do. So
yeah.
I would assume you just ask your TO to follow up with or your event organizer to follow up with AMG just to make sure you can.
So yeah, but
And Golden State Games is coming up too, right? I know Acer put something
yeah.
about that in
They
our
put that.
Discord.
Yep. So anybody who wants to go to that, let us know in the Discord if you want to go to that because Acer did hit me up and he could get us some discounts. So keep that in mind.
And that one's gonna
Uh,
have a couple worlds
Yeah,
qualifiers, right?
yeah,
Like
it's gonna
4.
have 4. So
Nice.
the top 4 is gonna get the world qualifier, and first place is gonna get their ticket paid for to go.
Wow, that's
Shit.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I plan to go. I know Toby's planning to go and whatnot. Also, on that note, Bakersfield had a tournament last Sunday. Congratulations, whoever won that. And
Arrogant shout out right there.
Shout out to Toby for
but-
paying $10 to get whooped by JR again.
I do want to mention though that they are also going to have a store championship in August. So I will get you guys the dates when I find out more on that. But yeah, that tournament was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't pay nobody from Bakersfield. I played everybody from Fresno. And Toby's friend Glenn is like he's really new to the game. I got paired with him round 1, so I felt
Oof.
bad.
Oh.
I felt so bad.
Did he
but
still have fun? Not against you, obviously, but I mean his other 2 games.
You know what's funny is he lasted the longest against me than the other 2 opponents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he lasted
Oh,
longer.
Toby.
Yeah. So yeah,
Poor
then I played
Toby.
Toby and then I played Rob in the finals. But on that note, like my list, I took Gar Saxon, kitted out with up close and personal rockets and his shield, and then 4 commandos, Mandalorians with the shields, up close and personal, the rocket, and the lethal guy, and then naked pikes. And I gotta say, it performed really good. That Alpha Strike range 4 is solid.
Yeah.
And then I was able to like force disarray. So getting in the range 2 was a
Ooh.
lot easy. Yeah.
That deals with darks pretty well too, actually, because you have so many rockets.
Yeah.
Like before they even get to shoot, you've shot a lot at them.
That's
Hopefully they
16
natty
dice.
block.
And then if you add our Saxon, that's 19 dice of just crits. Well,
Yeah, that's really good.
yeah, potential crits, but yeah.
Well, but they're all impact, blast. So literally any symbol you get is gonna go through.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really
Yeah,
good.
it is really good, and I enjoyed it a lot. So that's what I played for the tournament. I don't know if I'm gonna take it though, because like I just don't think Gar Saxon does enough, and that's my biggest complaint with him.
I think also that kind of list, you're a bit if you have a bad series of rolls, you've lost all your Mandos,
Yeah.
and then the game's over. So like,
Speaking,
it has a
but-
high, but that there's like 1 in 5 games, all of a sudden your army's gonna be dead.
that's why I took shields. I'm like, all right, you gotta get
Yeah.
past my heavy cover, then you gotta get past the shields, and then I'll get a dodge from up close and personal.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is in the final game against Rob, I was forced to go with Gar Saxon because no order control in this whole list.
Yeah.
And I went, shot rockets, and I was in range of all his army. He shot 20 dice, of course, of several actions. Gar Saxon blocked all of them but one.
How did it feel to be on the
Jeez.
other end of the Mando saves?
That felt so good. And then I go and shoot his death troopers, and they just fail, all of them.
Oh,
And he
that
just
feels bad.
Yeah, it was brutal. I saved everything, and he failed everything. It was brutal. So, thank you, Salted Dice. It was amazing.
Jeez.
But yeah, fun tournament. So I know, like I said, August there would be one. July there's gonna be one. We got the Golden Gate State. There's a lot of potential to get some championship world qualifiers. But all right, guys, we're gonna move on to community quarter. Jose, what you got for us, man?
All right, so what I ended up doing was with all the big shakeup that we had with the erratas and CRB changes, we kind of gave our hot takes and cold takes and weird takes. So what I like to do with Community Corner is I like to try to get engaged with anybody that puts time into our Discord, puts time into watching us every week. And wanted to get their thoughts. I didn't really want to get like long drawn out explanations, but I wanted to have some like maybe get a little hot takey comment or comedic comment. So what I did was I asked them in one sentence to give me a take on something regarding anything from the errata or anything from the CRB, and I was not disappointed. We have a mixture of some funny ones, some serious ones. So I'm going to read one after another and see what you guys think about it.
Okay.
So the first one comes from Rob, the Dark Trooper player. Rob says, Dark Troopers are in a good spot now as they seem more accurately priced and not as overbearing, especially alongside the Guardian change. Now, this is a guy saying this who abused the Guardian, and didn't have an issue with it. I thought that was a solid take from him, being that he can be like, yeah, that it works. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you should never fault anyone for abusing something that's legal, right?
Says the abuser.
Hey, the name of the game is the win at the end of the day, right? So, yeah. So that was it. I agree with Rob. That was a solid change. I think, I'm glad they didn't overprice them because they're really expensive enough, right? And they're just cool thematically. I just like running them. But yeah, it was a good change. I liked it all.
So the next two we got coming from our boy Nick. So Nick's first one was the point drop to Commander Luke now makes him a better value than Ahsoka.
Hold on. I need to see what Commander Luke is at now.
This is arguable. I'm not gonna lie. No. So Ahsoka, I think though, really shines with certain units, but Commander Luke is probably as good as her if you're just like, oh, I need someone else, especially because he takes care of your commander tax, which is a big deal.
I haven't played Luke in so long. Do any of his cards have recover? Or
They
no?
do not, and that's
Okay,
where
so
I think
that's the
Ahsoka has
change
the big
then.
advantage.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
the one recover card.
Yep, one recover card. Though you could always just take him with Cassian and use Cassian's recover card.
Yeah, I mean, and then you could do, like I said, I'm all burst of speed fan now. So burst of speed with force push, I think yeah, you're right. That could be a
So
better
not a crazy
argument.
take from our boy Nick. I think it's a viable take.
Although I still think Ahsoka's better because of defend one, because you need dodges. Now I know Luke gets dodges from his command cards, but you always could take season initiative on Ahsoka and just get that dodge that way too.
Yeah, but if you have burst of speed, you're not going to be taking a lot of shots before you get in. And then he has the full of surprises, which is a very good defensive card.
That's true. So yeah, Nick's got a point. Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. So we're making some headway, Nick. Here's the second one from Nick, and this one's gonna hurt JR. Also from Nick. With the changes to Force Choke, Dark Side players will now have to learn how to play Legion. The game us light side players have been playing all this time. What is the best way to explain to them that they will not have to earn their victory tokens?
All
They
right,
are.
here is my take, okay? What Nick just said is BS. Get out of here. I want to see it. You know? The reason why is because the light side are appropriated power stance, right? Power dynamic is they suck. They don't do anything. Whereas every dark sider in Star Wars is force choking, is killing things, is staying alive because of their hatred. And I think in Legion, they are nerfing their power. They're supposed to be these crazy beasts that just kill things. So yeah, they're just nerfing us to the light side level when the light side just need to do something better. That's my take, baby.
I'm just waiting for them to take away Force Push so that all of you have to learn to play Legion like bounty hunters.
All right. This one comes from our boy Gabriel on the Discord. He says, what would it look like if all Republic Jedi had a small buff, but they had to have a flaw Order 66 card?
Oh, what do you think, Daniel?
I mean, it's hard to say without what that flaw card would be.
I
I think it'd be fun thematically, but
One giant
I don't
army
think
fire
there's any way to
support
really
on
make
the-
it work.
what I think it should be is that I don't know what the small buff should be. Maybe they get dodges, independent
They don't
dodge.
need buffs. These are the best
They're pretty
force users
strong.
in the game.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know. You could do independent dodge. I don't know. But the Order 66 card, I think it should be all force users can't use green tokens. Boom.
Mm,
I don't understand how that works thematically though.
Because you catch them off guard, right? Where green tokens are supposed to implement that you're prepared, you're getting ready, you're stancing up. Where Order 66 caught them all off guard, right?
but
That's
what about
that's what Duel of
what
Fates is.
about so you can do it one of two ways, because you put the flaw card out before you play your orders, right?
Yeah.
So you would have the flaw Order 66 could say, when the force user activates, the units that you ordered will get to make a joint fire pull at if they're in range of the commander.
That'd be brutal.
Yeah, no one's.
I know. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Or you roll a red die and blanks or surge token. The unit that you activate, first action must be to shoot the force user.
But no one's gonna play that. No one's ever gonna.
I
play
think
that.
if you
It-
want to do something like that, you would have to do it more like
A
how
white
they did the
die?
Whistling Birds, where they're just like, oh, you have 2 clone units at range 1 of you. You roll 2 dice, you take that many wounds, right? Because that's you couldn't do it. Couldn't do it as an actual shot.
Yeah.
It would just kill everybody.
Or you could do it where you play the Order 66 cards and then the clones just walk up the board. They're just like, nope. I'm leaving.
No, you spend your dodges with Obi and then you have to wound them for every surge. So
Yeah.
this next one comes from our boy Chris. So it says, I'm all for the change in force choke rules, but not the points change. I think that we can agree on that.
Yeah, that's pretty agreeable.
All right. This one comes from our boy Edward. Less range 4 in general is my take, but regarding the recent changes, it's nice. Things being less killy and overbearing is okay.
Yeah, I agree with him on the range 4 stuff. Like, I really wish we saw an increase on all range 4 stuff because it's still the strongest list to build, in my opinion. And now the nerf to the force users, I hate a gunline meta. I really do. It's so boring. That's just my opinion on that matter.
I think he likes it because Krennic's more livable now. And the last one comes from our buddy, good old JR right here. The light side is trash. Nobody wants to play the good guys.
Wonderful take. Love it. A+.
Terrible take. Terrible take. I get away with it. I'm in the gray area. I play Anakin. So
Yeah.
and that was it for that. Thank you for everybody who helped out with submitting your takes. They were awesome, and that was a blast.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. The dark side feels rough. That's my biggest take on this one. Is just that's why I play Legion, is for the dark side stuff. I was always a dark side fan. So
I think Vader's still pretty strong, and there's still And like Maul is pretty strong. He
Yeah,
really
the
didn't get
force
affected
users,
that much
they're
by
still
this.
viable. The dark side forces are still viable. You just don't get the cheese that you got to sprinkle on your little salad there.
But when
Really,
you
I do think this mostly hurts Dooku and
Yeah.
Vader, but Vader was already too strong, so it's not the end of the world that he got brought down a little bit. And Dooku's the one who's really, I think, suffering.
Mhm.
Because everyone else, like,
Yeah,
you were already debating, you're like, do I want Force Choke or do I want to take something else? Because there's lots of good options for those other people.
the next tournament we play at with Daniel, Jared, we got to both bring Dooku lists and just run him in
Not the July one, not the July tournament.
He's not taking
You hear
no
that? Is it
chances.
important? No, I don't want to bring my A Dooku.
Any other tournament but the July. Like once I get a world qualifier, all right, I'll play something fun. I'll play something fun. All right, Jose, you got any rules questions for us?
Yeah, so Commander JR here gave me the homework of coming up with questions.
Well, stop peeking at them every time.
I sit there at work and I'm like, I wonder if anything's changed.
Well, you know what's honest is like I like you doing it better because then we got to see who knows the rules more, me or Daniel.
What are you saying? So I don't know the rules?
No, I'm just saying. Well, you're peeking at it. I was
Yeah,
doing that.
we all know you're reading it. We
Yeah.
just like to guess at the rules.
Yeah.
But then I'm always right, and I don't like to be wrong. I can take bets on these when I know them. All right, so the last ones were updated 3 days ago. There was a handful of them, but I picked the three that I thought were the coolest ones to look at. So the first one is submitted by Con Sans Games. He says, hello, what happens in the situation? A unit in a transport. The transport is surrounded by other units, friendly or enemy or obstacle. What happens if the transport is defeated and the unit leader can't be placed into base contact with that transport? So your Gav tank gets blown up and your E-Web can't get around the base where you would normally situate it. So where would you put that mini?
I believe you could put it. You have to put it as close as possible.
I think this is margin of error rule. Yeah, where you're just like, oh, just as close as possible to the tank or whatever's carrying it.
So by doing that, if that's the correct answer, would that mean that you're engaged with whatever you're basing?
I think it's still margin of error, so you're not.
Yeah, you're not. So the answer is from Seth. He says, if a unit leader cannot be placed in base contact with the defeated vehicle, place it as close as possible to the defeated vehicle. So you guys are right. So you would just place it like wherever inside of that bubble you want, and with with the margin of error rules.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool because I don't run a lot of vehicles that carry things, but I do like the lat. But I've been fortunate enough to have the lat explode and spit my person out, and I don't got to worry about anything because it's not a oblong base. I could see that being an issue with like the snail or the Gav. Is the snail base bigger than the Gav tank?
Yeah,
it's huge.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing. I could see that more happening to lats and
because they have a smaller base.
Yeah, Gav. I don't think you're ever gonna have. Maybe
you'd have to have like 3 units. Everybody.
Yeah. A bunch of Ewoks just surrounding the tank, poking it like that. Then I could see that.
So yeah, well, that's a good thing though, because the reason I use the E-Web as like my example is because if it's a trooper mini, it's gonna fit right anywhere in there. I was trying to get as big to a transfer base as I could because I was like, well, what if it blows up and then the base can't even sit in the middle? Do you like throw them out? But then the E-Web's about as big as it's gonna get because you can't transport like you can't transport an FD or nothing. So
and placement troopers are the biggest thing you can take.
Yeah. So I would not be surprised if that little sound cannon from the Geonosians actually has a bigger base.
Don't.
I think it'll probably be the same.
I don't want that in the universe.
All right, so this one comes from Blind Faith. He says, "Here's a situation," and the description is incognito and fire support. Here's the situation: K2SO has an active incognito for player A. Player B moves a unit into range 1 and makes a range attack on K2SO. Can a unit outside the range 1 contribute dice through fire support to player B's attack on K2SO? So I move up my 5 unit to break incognito, and now I can shoot K2. can I flip over a Z6 unit that's outside of the incognito range and add that fire support to my attacking pool, which is inside of the range one?
I think for fire support, you have to be able to make a legal attack. So then I don't think that you can fire support into the incognito. I think it's the same as like the limited vis rules.
I agree with Daniel.
You guys are both right. Seth says, hello, a unit may not use the fire support keyword to add weapons to an attack pool targeting a unit affected by incognito keyword if that unit is not at range 1 of the defending unit, as their unit would not be able to perform that ranged attack. So that caught me off guard because I was like thinking, reading, I'm like, yeah, you should be able to, because you know, to me the incognito was broken.
Right,
it's
but they still have
broken
the
for
token.
Yeah, it doesn't get
Yeah.
removed until after you attack. All right.
Yeah.
So this one is some Ewok funness. I thought this was cool because I thought about this trying to be, trying to get on BJR to the cheese, but apparently, we'll get into it. Onward to Victory and the Recover action. This is by Sabian Asher. He says, considering the Onward to Victory has an exhaust symbol and it exhausted at the beginning of the activation phase, outside of Logre's activation, can Logre take the recover action on his activation to return the uses to return action to on his activation to sorry, let me read that again. Sorry, it's like word salad. It's one long sentence. All right, let me read it. Considering the Onward to Victory has an exhaust symbol and it is exhausted at the beginning of the activation phase outside of Logre's activation, can Logre take the recover action on his activation the turn he uses the card? If yes, does this negate the need to discard the Onward to Victory since it would no longer be exhausted? So when you use this card, it's exhausted and it goes away. Like it's a one-time use card. What he's saying is if he uses Logre and activates and recovers to flip the card non-exhausted, does he get to keep the card?
So it's funny that you say this because I thought the
thought about
same thing. I thought the same thing, but unfortunately, I don't think that recovering negates the end phase. So even because you spent it, so you got to discard it because all it says is once it's spent. I mean, you could technically recover to get it back, but that doesn't change the fact that you spent it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
Yeah,
same
so
as the what's the stims you can take, the emergency stims?
Yeah.
Even if you
Stims?
recover that, those wounds still go back on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't come off the emergency sim if you recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he answered this in two parts. Seth said, yes, Logre may ready the Onward to Victory upgrade card by recovering. The second part of the question, he said, no, the Onward to Victory upgrade card is discarded in the end phase if it was exhausted at the start of that round's activation phase, regardless of whether it is readied or exhausted at the when that time comes. So no cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of an odd card. Why is it set up that way?
Yeah. I feel like you just burn it at the start of the activation phase.
Yeah, because that's what
Yeah.
you do
Is
with
it- do
like
you get
burst
to-
of speed
you-
and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't
You get to
understand why it has to
choose
stay
the
around.
activation phase, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
But you-
yeah.
the game
Yeah.
starts. The game starts. I have to burn it right away.
No,
No, you choose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
understand why you have to tap it and you have to discard it. Like it feels
That's-
like the tapping is silly.
That's my complaint with AMG is their wording is very difficult because the same thing with the reveal for Makashi Mastery on Asajj, you keep it in play, but it's like, why? Unless
Yeah.
it's future proofing where they're gonna have a card that you could discard a card and then they'll get it. Maybe that they could do something that gameplay wise.
I don't think so. I think it's just like their philosophy is the rule really only exists if the card is still there. So then they want you to discard it after you're done using it. And then I think probably FFG had a different philosophy, and that's why Burst of Speed is different. And so then now because both those philosophies exist in the game, there's weird like well, one card does this and the other one does the other thing. I don't understand.
It is kind of funky.
Yeah. So those were my three questions. I thought they were fun, and it's something. Two of them I felt like were, we would have those conversations. One of them I've experienced myself and thought, hey, this should work. And Ewok's questions are going to be here until they drop. So I
Yep.
figured there were three solid questions.
So well,
Nice.
good job, Jose. I like you being the rules guy. I love it. All right,
Gotta pick
boys.
harder ones.
Well, it's hard to pick harder ones, because like unless something really like throws us off left field, no one asks it,
Well, they have some. So there are like I'm always on the forums because like whenever something happens, like hey, this happened, this happened, this happened. there are some that are like pages of text, and it's
Mhm.
a super specific like interaction, and I'm just like, man, like there's no way he could have the person who wrote the question could have worded this any shorter and have it make sense the way he's making it sound, but it's such a weird interaction that you're rarely gonna see. So
Well,
I tend to like the shorter ones better.
Yeah.
I'm glad at least one of us is consistently looking at it, because I don't know how we missed that force push roll. A lot of people did. That was months ago, and we just barely found out
Oh
about that.
yeah, no, yeah, I should probably pay more attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that's a little frustrating, but all right,
Like I
boys.
said earlier, I like to just guess.
All right, boys. Well, thank you guys for joining. Everybody that's watching, thank you for listening. Till next time, see ya.
Later.